And then the other thing that I think is just as important is we get rejected in 1 week more than most of you watching this have gotten rejected probably in your entire fucking life. Probably true, right? Yeah. I got rejected plenty of times last week, but I know that every rejection leads me closer to the girl that I actually do have chemistry with. And I realize that failure in any area is the path towards success. The more you're failing, the more likely you are to succeed. So if you haven't pulled 4 girls this week, the reason is almost certainly because you also haven't gotten rejected by 80 girls this week.
Well, to be fair too, you honestly haven't been. So the way that we game isn't really super rejection based, honestly. I mean, we make friends. A lot of people, I've seen you reject a lot of girls too this week.
Yeah.
But to get to this point, though,
technically that could be a rejection too. When I reject the girl, there was some
you don't like.
Some I'm not very nice to, but if a girl within 2 minutes, she asked me to buy her a drink, I'm going to reject her because I'm not into that. That's just bullshit to me. And she's trying to use me. And even if she does like me, I don't want to be used that way. I just don't find it attractive for it to be transactional, the relationship or the whole interaction. So I'll reject them. I'll ask if they're a feminist, if they believe in gender equality, and then go down into a little kerfuffle about that, a little argument about that. But I reject women all the time, but that's still a rejection. Technically, it's still an approach that didn't lead to sex.
Well,
right?
I mean, people that like count their approaches versus like rejections are honestly just, all right, the guys that do that are always the ones that get rejected a lot. It's not the cool guys are not the ones who are like, another one for the wins, another one for the losses. If you're that guy's doing that, you're putting your energy in the wrong place, and you're also you're too much of an engineer. The engineers, there's a reason why engineers don't get fucking laid. It's because they don't have any social intelligence. They're like ones and zeros. And then when I try to explain to them like empathy and talking to people like people, making friends, like why would I make a friend? How is this tact? How is this like tactically sound? And I'm like, the reason that the way that you're saying that is the reason you're not getting laid. The reason you're saying that is why no girls want to fuck you or talk to you. Is you're like, hello, object. How can I manipulate you into liking me or wanting to fuck me?
I mean, that sounds good to me.
This might be too advanced for some of you guys to even understand this, because you guys are looking at us like the robots on YouTube that give you the information that you want specifically. And cool. But you guys need to learn some social intelligence, and some of you guys are just emotionally dumb. And like that's why the girls don't want to fuck you.
Well, and the other part of being emotionally dumb is not being willing to go through some hardship.
That's true.
Right. Being resilient as well. So that when I'm talking about getting rejected a lot, I mean, you don't have to count the number of times you get rejected, but every time, the amount of times you've gotten laid versus the amount of approaches you've done, no matter what, is going to be higher, the amount of approaches you did, right? You're going to get rejected a lot. Yeah. Most of those rejections, I don't remember them. I don't care about them. If I had a night, let's say the other night, a couple nights ago when I pulled a girl I really liked, I don't think I remember any of those rejections specifically, but I know they happened. Yeah. Right. I know there were rejections, but that night I literally, if I try to think, that's the only thing I remember from that night is meeting the girl I liked and then certain other things that happened, with her. I remember that. I remember, I'm not gonna talk about the periods, but anyway, I remember you have to have ways to deal with periods, but anyway, I remember that, but I don't remember the rejections. That fades away. And a lot of people, they're not trying hard enough to where they get any successes. And so all they see is rejection. And I think that's a big part of a lot of people, they half step it, right? So they do one approach, they do 2 approaches. I've surveyed, like I asked guys, like, how many approaches did you do tonight? Guys who are new, it's like 2 in the entire week, in the entire month.
Well, one of the biggest mistakes I make with clients and with and people make oftentimes we're on a boot camp is that I push them too hard too fast, and then what happens is they blow out. So what happens is it's not even like that's very conscious either. It's that they'll come with some dumb reason for not doing it. It's like my ears hurt, or oh, my hernia is acting up, or oh no, all of a sudden I have to go to this event. I just completely forgot about it. If I don't work on it this weekend, it's not going to get done.
Well, that's actually another thing to be aware of, right? Yeah, that's going to happen, right? And it happens to me. I have those thoughts too, right? If I'm in a bad mood, I'll think, oh, this venue sucks. I don't see any girls. It's 80% guys. And I'll try to leave.
And then like the problem is that you guys think that you guys understand yourself completely. If you think you understand yourself completely, you don't know yourself whatsoever, and you're absolutely getting fucking pimped.
You got to be aware of your own lack of self-awareness, and you got to be able to question your own thoughts, which is partly why meditation is useful. But in general, anytime you have a thought or an excuse, this is actually an exercise I've done that's helped me massively with anxiety. I got it from some book, but I tell myself I'm having the thought. So if let's say I feel like I get anxiety sometimes and I'll be like, let's say I have a headache and I'll be like, I'm having the thought that I'm about to have a stroke. But when I tell myself it's the thought, then I get distance from it.
Yeah.
Right. So being aware that it's a thought and that thoughts are not reality. So if you can separate from all these thoughts, and this includes the thoughts that I'm not good looking enough. Look, I'm sure you've seen a club like some 6'6" guy gets approached by a girl or something.
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm not 6'6" and I didn't get approached and it's not fair. And then it's very easy to get.
Yeah.
And this happens to everyone, by the way. Probably even the 6'6" guy, there's some like 6'1" guy that gets approached and they're like, it's because my personality isn't good enough to get approached. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you have to be aware that all your thoughts are pretty fucking stupid. They're mostly wrong and they're mostly based on emotions. They come from the amygdala. They come from the parts of your brain that is trying to survive and that has fear and it's trying to prevent you from getting out of your comfort zone and prevent you from taking action. It's very good at that job. But if you're aware of it and you can say, you know what, that's just a thought. What is the smallest action I can take in the right direction? So it might be just walking around the venue. It might be saying hi to someone as they walk by. It might be dancing. It might be going to the dance floor, just having fun just to get out of your head. But taking some small step towards taking action instead of believing your thoughts, that's really what holds people back.
Also, like, so we're trying to be pseudo intellectual versus actually. So sometimes too, people will kind of get their own way. They won't think critically because they kind of get stuck in the mud about a certain way of being. So you're like, this is what actually matters. And then you guys are not ever actually listening to anybody else. You guys are like trying to poke holes in an argument that might be contrary to your own, as opposed to actually thinking it through. And I'm saying this because I do see a bit of action over here in the comments, and I've been reading it here and there. You guys are not even open-minded about.
I cannot read that.
You guys are not even being open-minded about a different way of being necessarily. I mean, if it's working for you, hell yeah. But if you don't like where you're at, maybe you like try something a little different, bro.
Or I mean, you have to be aware that you're not as smart as you think you are. That I think is the biggest awareness. That's the biggest advantage I've always had growing up is that my parents or the books I read or whatever, I'd learned this idea that I'm probably wrong about a lot of the things I think. And so I don't really believe anything 100%. I don't think I have any belief that I'm like, I know for certain is true. Yeah. I have beliefs I'm more confident in, but I'm always skeptical of my own thoughts and I try to get evidence. And that is what's led to, I know it's only 4 girls a week. That's not very good, or 3 girls a week. I mean, bro, 3. The fuck is this bullshit?